Why do I procrastinate?
Why?
I just can't stop doing it. Why don't I do the things I know I need to do?
Why?
Why do I push them off?
Why?
Why am I so goddamn lazy?
How about?
Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Of course it does. Everyone has experienced it. It's the impeding feeling of resistance and procrastination.
We meet again.
Welcome to the Body Mind Empowerment Podcast. I'm your host, Simland. This episode is just for you if you're struggling with procrastination. I'm gonna tell you how to stop procrastinating in 3 simple steps. It's really that simple. So let's delve into the world of slacking off.
What it is.
Body Mind Empowerment.
Get stronger, faster, smarter, quicker, friendlier, more helpful, more driven.
Everything the body needs.
Control your mind.
So you set yourself these ambitious goals that you're gonna go get after. You feel inspired and motivated, but all that is standing between you and your end results is this massive chasm, this grand canyon of action, huge pitfall where you have to put in the effort, do the hard work, sweat your ass off, and overcome your procrastination. There is no shortcut. You have to do the work. You have to take action on the small milestones that are going to get you the results that you desire. But despite how glittering your end goal is, how motivated you feel about it, you still can't seem to overcome this overwhelming feeling of resistance. What's even worse, you feel procrastination eating you alive from the inside out. That's how you know you're procrastinating in the first place. You have this urge that says, I know I should be doing something, but there is something that's stopping me. Steven Pressfield calls this invisible force resistance with a capital R.
That coming off of that blank page is this force, a negative force, just like to take a cold shower, to go for a run. It says, no, 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 no. And it comes up with a million reasons why you shouldn't do that, right? And finally, I just realized it's not me. It's not me that's thinking that thought. It's this force called resistance with a capital R.
In his book, The War of Art, he talks about how many artists, creatives, athletes, and every other person alive experiences this turmoil.
Most of us have 2 lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. Between the two stands resistance.
We all get moments where we hesitate, where we doubt our actions, where we procrastinate, where we lose our focus. The difference between those who get things done and those who simply dream about their goals is taking action in spite of resistance.
Because you have to defeat it. There's no way to fake your way around it. You know, as a writer or an artist that's trying to put something on the page, you just got to make yourself, just like you got to make yourself get down there and do it.
Resistance and fear are never gonna go away. Just your ability to deal with it improves. You just get better at dealing with it. You ignore the fear and do it anyway.
Resistance is infallible. Like a magnetized needle floating on a surface of oil, resistance will unfailingly point to true north, meaning that calling or action it most wants to stop us from doing. We can use this. We can use it as a compass. Rule of thumb, the more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward pursuing it.
Procrastination is subliminal to resistance. Resistance can come to us in any area of life and prevent us from taking action mercilessly. You get scared, make false judgments, push things off, get stuck in paralysis by analysis, deliberately lose your focus, and do whatever it takes to avoid doing the thing you're supposed to do. So how do you stop this train wreck of procrastination before it drags you down into the abyss? If you're not feeling motivated enough by your goals that you would simply do it anyway, then I think you should reevaluate your goals and take a look at whether or not you actually want what you say you want. Because let's be honest, it would be much easier for you to set those goals that you're going to actually achieve. However, feeling motivated and inspired is not enough. Motivation is a privilege, but not a necessity. What you need is discipline. In the case of procrastination, you need self-discipline because The only thing that's preventing you from taking the right action is yourself and your habitually constructed neural networks. Think about it. If you procrastinate in the jungle or in this savannah with lions and stuff, then you're gonna die. So, procrastination is a huge privilege in modern society. You should feel incredibly fortunate that you have the possibility to even procrastinate, to hit the snooze and to watch Netflix without life or death consequences. Now, instead of taking this for granted, you should actually use it as leverage for taking more action. Appreciate it and act as if procrastination really determined your survival. Because in a funny sense, it actually does. If you can't deal with your own inner feeling of resistance and not procrastinate, then you're developing the habit of always procrastinating on everything every time. Your habits will begin to spread, and the deeper they delve, the harder it becomes to deal with them.
But when you're a solitary writer or an athlete, there's nobody making you get out of bed in the morning. In fact, you're totally free to stay there all day and eat donuts and, hang out at Starbucks, right? So it becomes not externally imposed discipline, but self-discipline.
It's important to pay attention to the words you use as well. For instance, if you give your resistance a name like Steven Pressfield did, then it becomes this tangible thing. It becomes an entity that you can face. You can recognize that whenever you start to feel the feeling of resistance, then you say to yourself, it's resistance, it's coming back to haunt me again.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
It's an entity, it's a thing that you can defeat.
Dormammu!
It's not this invisible force that's gonna drag you down, but you can overcome it.
Dormammu!
If you notice that fear is starting to creep back on you, then you can say to yourself, get over yourself. It's just fear. It's just something that you created with your own mind. It's very common to say that fear stands for false expectations appearing as real, which in a sense is so true because fear exists only in your subjective reality. It's in your head. And the faster you get over it, then the faster you can get over procrastination and the faster you get done with the things you need to do.
And beyond that, self-validation, self-reinforcement. I know this is part of your thinking too, Joe, where you've got to be the one that says to you, you did good today, Joe. You got out there, you ran your 4 miles and you did it, and you hated, but at the end of when you finished, you said, this is great, I got it.
So, the critical step is to move from inaction to action. The second step to overcome procrastination is to get in motion. You have to plunge into action and just do it, ASAP. The longer you ruminate over your feelings of procrastination, the longer you're gonna keep on doing it. Think about it. How much time do you waste on negative self-talk, hesitation, fears, making excuses?
Bullshit.
You're wasting so much time on it that if you simply put in the work, you will achieve your goals so much faster. You can finish this single task maybe within a few hours, but if you keep pushing it off, it's gonna stay haunting you in the back of your head.
Dormammu!
This feeling of I need to do something, it's gonna follow you and it's gonna eat you alive.
How many hours a day you waste or how many hours a week you waste. And the classic answer is something like 4 to 6 hours a day. And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be who knows how much more efficient. 10 times more efficient. 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto Distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's off the charts. Well, and if we all got our act together collectively and stopped making things worse, because that's another thing people do all the time, not only do they not do what they should to make things better, they actively attempt to make things worse because they're spiteful or resentful or arrogant or deceitful or homicidal or genocidal or all of those things all bundled together in an absolutely pathological package. If people stopped really trying just to make things worse, we have no idea how much better they would get just because of that.
It's Newton's first law of motion. An object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an opposing force. Which means that if you're motionless, you're gonna stay motionless unless something pushes you into motion. But if you plunge into action right away without even thinking about it, then you're gonna get it done right away, and you're also gonna avoid this massive negative self-talk and excuses.
Mr. Kimble have to go to the bathroom.
The most difficult part is starting to move. If you're standing still, then you're gonna develop these roots, and it becomes increasingly more difficult to start moving. Look at the space shuttle shooting off into space. The space shuttle uses half its fuel just to get off the ground. It uses over 90% of its fuel to get 1 foot into the air. The space shuttle uses less and less fuel as it climbs higher, and it uses almost no fuel at all once it reaches the orbit of the Earth. Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world and considered it as a universal principle. Like attracts more like, money makes more money, addiction creates more addiction, and procrastination leads to more procrastination. So here are some tricks to get yourself moving. Ask yourself, what's the easiest thing I can do to move from inaction to action? Is it opening the book and reading the first paragraph?
Yes.
Is it putting on your gym clothes and going to the gym, doing your first rep, doing your first set, and continuing on from there?
Yes.
Is it walking out of your front door and putting 1 foot in front of the other?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's basically it. Secondly, you should start off with the most enjoyable task. You can use the carrot on a stick to bait yourself into taking the first step. Do something that's gonna give you some quick positive feedback. 3. Put some accountability on yourself. If we know that someone else is watching, or someone else knows about our goals, then we're more likely to do the things we know we need to do. And 4th, make your word matter. You have to be able to do what's needed even when nobody else is watching, because that's the mark of true integrity, aligning your intentions with your actions. The biggest danger with this is that if you lie to yourself or if you don't keep yourself accountable, then you're developing this dishonest relationship with yourself. Your subconscious mind begins to think that it's okay to procrastinate and that you're the kind of person who doesn't stick to your word anyway, so why bother?
No.
That's why you have to make your own word the most congruent thing in the world for you, because who else are you gonna trust? What's funny is that once you start taking action, the feeling of resistance disappears. If you get yourself into motion, momentum will come to your side and you gain a ton of sheer focused willpower. The 3rd step is entering the zone. That's what basically happened to me as well when I wrote about this article. At first, I simply wrote down the headline, "How to Stop Procrastinating." I wrote a few sentences that immediately came from the back of my head. I didn't analyze it or think about whether or not it's actually any good. I simply did it.
Do it.
I kept going, I kept writing the things that just popped into my head, with no judgments or expectations. After a while, I hit a writer's block. The feeling, the wall of resistance. But I didn't bonk. It was just a small bump in the road. At first I thought like maybe I should stop, because I had already wrote a few paragraphs, so I can carry on later.
Bullshit.
But then I realized that it's gonna be more harder to regain momentum again. I was already in motion, so why stop? I said to myself, get over yourself, and I kept going. It would have been so ironic to fall victim to procrastination as you're writing about procrastination. This ultimate procrastination trap.
Endless looped time.
But I didn't. As I kept writing, I hit the zone, and it felt good. It felt so good. I could have written about anything, anywhere, about anyone in any way. It was this amazing flow where you simply feel so immersed by the thing you're doing that everything else simply disappears. I didn't even think about writing, I didn't think about procrastination, I just was in the present moment so engaged with the activity that I even lost my sense of time, space, and even my sense of self-consciousness almost. My action slew the biggest dragon we all have to face, ourselves. And that's how you should approach procrastination as well. Become smothered by inaction or slay it with action. One of the biggest reasons for procrastination is fear and self-sabotage. Being afraid of taking action and gaining the positive results. Your subconscious mind makes you procrastinate, because if you did get your shit together, if you succeeded, then you'd have to keep taking more action in the future and progress further with your goals. It's gonna cause more problems, but those are good problems to have. It feels comfortable and secure to stay in one position, to not grow and be safe. But being stagnant also means you're slowly dying. Staying in motion and evolving is the essence of life, and it's what's going to drive your personal evolution. It's scary to improve because you have to leave behind your previous ego, but on the other side of fear, you'll get access to the truly empowered version of yourself. If you're struggling with procrastination and you can't seem to get yourself do the things you know you need to do, then you need some simple routines and habits that would put your success on autopilot as soon as you open your eyes. After a while, your routines will become your default state and they become a part of you. You begin flowing through life all the time because that's the person you are. To know how to overcome procrastination for good, then check out my morning routine course on Udemy. It's gonna change your mindset about identifying your goals and purpose, teaches you how to optimize your energy and productivity, and allows you to produce your greatest work. That's meaningful.
Stop.
That's it for today's podcast. Make sure you leave us a review on iTunes, other social media platforms, and click the like, subscribe, notification bell as well. Like always, don't procrastinate on it. My name is Seem. Stay in motion, stay empowered.
Rule of thumb, the more important a call or action is to our soul's evolution, the more resistance we will feel toward pursuing it.